Zero pence here. The postman come this morning and gave me a parcel. And I knew it was coming, but I didn't know what was in it. And it was from Wacky George, the bus pass camper. And he said, "I'm going to send you something if you can't find a use for it, bin it." Well, I have a story about this particular kind of knife that's in this packet, and I'm going to bring it out and show you. Now there is a knife. Now that is a Scoutmaster's knife. This one wasn't issued to normal scouts, as far as I know. Now, if you was a senior scout, I think you could actually graduate to this knife. But as far as I know, only Scoutmasters had these. There is probably someone out there who can tell me different, but from my experience as a cub, and that our Scoutmaster had one of these, because Cub Scouts. But when the Scoutmaster came in later on in the evening to take the Scouts, he had one of these on his hip. He'd end up down a police station now, wouldn't he? And this is the knife. Now, what I'm going to do, George, is I'm actually going to clean this knife up, and I am going to get in touch with someone that I know, and because he was talking to me, and this is all a bit vague, but he was talking to me about a museum for scouting and the Cub Scouts, because it's over 100 years old, and I'm going to see where this is. I'm going to clean this up, and if I can, I'm going to present it to them to go into their museum. But it's all in the wind at the moment, but hopefully I'll be able to do that, because this knife has got to be looked at, and that's about the only way that you're going to do it. So I'm going to clean it up and do a restoration job on it, but I'm not going to alter anything. I'm going to redo the edge, because it's quite scruffy, but that's all I'm going to do, nothing else. And I'm going to clean the handle. Now, my heart dropped in my mouth a bit, because there's tape round it. I had a little peek under the tape, and it's all intact. So I'm going to remove this tape, and I'll be back. But this, at the time, this particular knife was, I think it cost a fortune. That's why only the Scoutmasters had it. I have no idea exactly how much this knife cost in 1969, 68, 69. Yeah, in about 1965. Yeah, that's 1965. So I have no idea. But I can tell you this. I couldn't have afforded one, and my dad couldn't have afforded to buy me one either. So, just goes to show that, yeah. Oh, mate, George, this is awesome, man. Absolutely awesome. It's a bit of history, and I'm going to do my best to get this a good home, because he deserves it. It really does, and it is a cracking bit of kit. Cracking. As I say, it's a piece of history, George. It really is. And if there is anybody out there that can tell me more about these knives, please get in touch, because I only know from personal experience, these knives. But as my next door neighbour, when I lived in my grandmother's house, he was a scoutmaster, and he had one of these, and my scoutmaster had one of these as well. I'm sure he did. As I say, yeah. I'm waffling now because I'm so excited after this. Yeah, George, you're a naughty man. That is absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much, mate. And wow, yeah, thanks very much. I'm gonna bring that up, see if it will focus in. But all the embellishments on this handle are all there. Those unsightly lines going around the horn, they're only sticky tape. That will be cleaned off, and I'm going to do that in a second, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. You can see it's a little bit dull there now, but getting into the light. I'm sorry about the lighting in here, but I really I cannot go outside. And there it is. Time for a clean, I think. Hi, Zero Pence here. I've come to my back door to show you this knife, because the light in my living room is absolutely atrocious. Now, hopefully that will focus in. But this is the knife that George sent me. I've cleaned it. The handle was a bit loose, but I've fixed that by feeding the leather, because these old knives, all this is, these bottom washers here are leather, so they have to be fed, and if you don't feed them, the handle becomes loose. So basically, if you have one of these knives and it's got a loose handle, take it, get some olive oil in a jar, and place the handle in a jar for 24 hours overnight. Wash it off, or wipe it off with a bit of towel. The olive oil won't harm you or your hands or anything. It's in soaps and all sorts of stuff, and it won't harm the antler or the resin, depending on what one it is. This is antler, and as you can see, I've left all the marks in. I've just cleaned it and washed it. I've oiled the sheath, so the sheath is now all nice and supple again, and on the back you can see I've fed it so that it's all ready to rock. And there it is, close up of the end of the knife. I don't do any alterations to knives like this. I don't take off any metal. The three things I used to clean this knife were elbow grease and baking soda and water, and a little bit of washing up liquid, just to make the baking soda adhere to the cloth that I was using, because that is your, shall we say, abrasive element of this, and also it neutralises any nasties that can be on there, like hand acid and things like that. And as you can see, it's looking good. The whole thing is looking good, I think. That's a wonderful wonderful gift from George. I'm blown away, mate, and I really am. I've secretly wanted one of these knives since since I was 9 years old. Yeah, 9, 10 years old. Wow. Back in the 60s. And you can imagine how big this looked to me, hanging on that bloke's hip, because he was 6 foot odd, this guy, and this was hanging on his hip, and it looked huge to me. And it's still a pretty big knife now, but yeah, here you go. I've cleaned the blade, and I mean cleaned it. I've not gone in with any abrasives or anything like that. I've rubbed baking soda into the face of it. That's why there's still some bits of crud. But I'm not going to bother with them. They're not affecting the knife in any way. I'm going to put. I allow myself one thing. I'm going to put some long-term oil on this. It is a coating to keep blades in good stead. It's very thick, and you wipe it on it, sort of, I suppose, adheres to the surface a little bit better than I think. It's only a spray stuff, but it is long term. But as you can see, I've cleaned up the edge a little bit, not too much. As I said, I want the knife to be as it was, and the back of the blade, it's had a good wash and brush up, cleaned its teeth, combed its hair, and that's it. I washed its clothes. Done. Hope I've done it justice for you, George. It looks absolutely brilliant, and as I say, I'm going to get in touch with the one of the guys that I know is into scouting and the history of scouting in a big way, and see whether we can place this knife with them, and then it will be safe forever. So there you go. It's all been cleaned up around the edge and all tightened up, and she's ready to rock again. And there's some history there. Excuse the shaking, I can't help it. There's nothing to worry about though. But yeah, here you go. What a beautiful knife. Wow. And it's been saved, and I'm chuffed and happy breaks about that. That's unbelievable. Brilliant. Thanks, George. Thanks for allowing me to do it and giving me the chance. It's absolutely awesome, man. Can't thank you enough. Yeah. 0 pence from a very wet back garden. Thanks very much for watching. See you later. Bye bye.